Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. We've had many requests to see some baby slings getting caught up by our lovely camera lady. So she's going to do just that today. And the reason being is because we have got these Augacephalus ezendami. They are basically a dwarf golden baboon. Now, as baboons go, these are an old world spider, but as baboons go, these are really laid back. They really are, and they're a real pleasure to keep. So we don't see much in the way of threat posturing from our female or anything. And although they're pretty much a burrowing species, she spends an awful lot of time sat outside and also out wandering around in the daytime as well. So they prove to be a really cool little spider. And hopefully what we're going to do now is we are going to try and catch up all of these youngsters, because we allowed these to hatch with her because we've not bred these before, and these are in fact pretty rare in the hobby. And most of what you'll see as youngsters coming through the hobby, slings, are normally from wild caught females that have dropped a sack. These are actually being bred here by us. This female was raised from a sling, and we were lucky enough to locate a male, and we managed to pair them. You would have seen our pairing video of these guys. So these are in fact one of the very few, if any others. I've not heard of any others for a very long time. They're actually captive bred. So we're really proud of these. It's been a fantastic journey for the Beastie Room. Really exciting. Now we are going to see now if we can't catch them all up. Now we've got a couple of different things going on here. This is Saturday the 21st of May. So this is the day before the BTS show. Now we will be taking some to the BTS show, to some friends of ours there at Spa Spiders. They will be having some, so make sure, check out their website. They may still have some available when this film goes out. So they're going to be put in here. So they're only going to be traveling up with me tomorrow, so they will be fine in here as a group. We're going to have a bunch of them in there, and then the ones that we're going to keep here in the Beastie Room are going to go into this pot here. Now we put some soil in the bottom here. Now this has got a bit of a moisture to it, as you can see. These guys do like it dry, so we're going to have to just keep our eye on this and make sure that this isn't too damp. It would have been a little bit better if it was a bit drier, but we're going to see how it goes, and we'll see how they fare. If they start showing any signs of discomfort, that it's a little bit too humid, then we'll swap it out and we'll change it. We'll do something else. Put them on some paper and we'll dry some soil out. I just haven't got anything dry at the moment, so we're going to give them a go, and we're just going to see. Most slings are okay, but as an adult they like it dry. Now they're going to go into this little tiny pot here. Remember, if you're using these bra plast things, make sure you put a little bit of tape. We use masking tape over the holes, and this is to ensure that none of our little slings actually climb out through the breathing holes. There will be enough oxygen in here. They don't need any more oxygen. So always make sure you tape up these holes. There's 4 holes there. All right then. So I think without further ado, we are going to take this lid off, and we're going to see what we've got. These are absolutely stunning little slings. They really are cool. Very nice. And they do look very fast. They look very fast. Now we got a big bunch of them down in this corner here. There's a load in the water pot there, and there's a load down in her burrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and hook up these ones that we can see here. Hopefully we can get a good few of them, and then we're going to have to break down into her burrow and find out what's down there, where we may have to remove her as well. All depends on how she behaves. If she's nice and calm, we'll leave her there. But if she gets a little bit upset, then we'll hook her out, and then we can just concentrate on what we've got to do. Right then, so I think we'll move these bits and pieces over here out the way. We'll get set up so camera lady can do her thing, and we will leave her to it. Right, we're going to put this over here. Well, here we are now. Camera lady is just catching the first sling, or the first nymph, I should say. Now, as we said earlier on, we allowed these to hatch out inside the enclosure, and this decision was made because we wasn't entirely sure how this was all going to work out. Now, our female produced a sac, and she also produced it very much in the way like our Balfouris do. So it's almost like a suspended hammock in the burrow. And because of that, I decided to leave them in there. So with our Balfouri, we always leave them to it. You can see there was a little bunch of them sitting inside the dry water bowl there. Just got to try and flick them out. They're very robust at this stage. I mean, in terms of, there you go, you can see that just literally fell off of her finger there. And you can just flick them out onto the soil, and they're perfectly fine. What you do have to be careful with is catching their legs. You don't want to damage their legs. But you can tip them out onto the soil, and they're perfectly happy. Now, one of the things we noticed here was as soon as we started, the slings all started dispersing, and they went all over the place, and they hide everywhere. And because it's quite a dry setup, it enables them to literally bury themselves very quickly, and they vanish. Now, our female is still in there at this time. She's literally underneath where camera lady's hand is. There you go. You can just see now well, it's just out of shot now. But you can see there was a burrow there, and that is the entrance to her burrow, literally just down the side. Very healthy little slings. You don't want to let go. Now, this is something else that you'll see with many of your spiders when they have egg sacs. Just prior to them actually hatching, normally a sort of a day or two, maybe a week at the most, you will see that there will be some extensive webbing outside, and this is fine, really fine webbing that they put up all over the sides of the enclosure and everything else. And this is to enable the nymphs, when they hatch out, that they can leave the burrow and they can climb up into the webbing. They'll molt in there as well, and it basically helps them get around. You see there as well that they almost freeze. Some of them run and others just freeze. Come on, get in the pot. There you go. Now you can see in the background there, when we go back, you'll see the webbing that I was talking about. Oh, here comes our female. There's all that webbing that she's created, and you can see how that young sling there is using it to traverse around the enclosure. That wasn't there around about 4 days before this hatched. So she'd come out and actually created all of this. It's very, very cool. And it allows the slings to actually get around and go all over the place. And like I say, they will climb up in it and they'll molt in it as well. And sometimes it's the first sign that you actually see that you've got slings is the molts, because they'll come out of a night time and then they'll molt and then they'll disappear back down into the burrow. As you can see there, we've not seen any aggression from her whatsoever. Very, very pretty spider. These really are sweet-natured spider. You can see there that she's holding really good condition. Even though she's just produced this sac, she's been down there a month with it, and she's not really lost any condition in her abdomen. She's looking absolutely perfect. Now we're just going to catch her up now, so we're not going to take any chances. And it's easier to remove her, and less stressful for her as well, if we just take her out of the situation. You can see there's still no aggression whatsoever. Bearing in mind, this is a baboon species, an old world baboon, and a very, very well behaved one at that. So now we've got her in the box, and we can basically now, we can put her to one side and she'll settle down. She's not going to be in there for very long. So now our female has been removed, we can now get on with the task in hand and try and catch these babies. So what Camera Lady's doing now is, there's a piece of moss that goes around like 2/3 of the enclosure there, and she's just torn that in half because there are babies caught up inside the moss. So it's a good chance to take them out, put them in another tub. You can see now we've got a white Bryoplast tub here. These are really, really cool in this situation, because if our slings decide to leave the moss and enter into the tub, we will see them moving around. They will show up really, really easy. You can see that one there is very, very visible with the white background behind him. Doesn't make them any easier to catch, but it does make them show up a little bit. You can see how dry that is as well. Even though our moss is dry, it's still usable. It still has a purpose, because we can put that in later on. We can still soak that, and this will allow us to regulate the humidity within that enclosure. So although it's dry and dead to all intents and purposes, it is still a usable piece of material. Now what she's doing now is she's peeling back some of the webbing, because underneath that webbing, some little spiderlings have disappeared into the moss. So we're just going to give them a moment to settle down. We'll leave them where they are, and we can concentrate back in the enclosure. Now you can see there are spiderlings all over the floor, and these were all hiding underneath that piece of moss that was removed. You can see them, they're everywhere. Now in all, when we caught all of these up, I think there was 150 spiderlings, which is a really good size sac for this species of spider. They are only a very small spider. As you can see, the numbers are slowly increasing. Now this is the entrance to the burrow, and what we're doing now is we're trying to clean back this webbing. Now when you've got slings and nymphs inside the enclosure that have hatched out like these have, it's often best to slowly work your way around the enclosure, tidy it up, get rid of anything that is not necessary and remove it. You know, take it out of the way. It just makes life a whole lot simpler if you consistently make yourself some room to move. So what we're doing now is, we know we've got no slings in that particular piece, so we're just cutting that back now. We're going to get rid of it. It serves no purpose anymore. Once we take the spiderlings out, this piece of webbing is of no use to anything. So our female wouldn't use it. She wouldn't redo anything with it. It would literally just be rubbish within the enclosure. So we're now going to take that away, clean it back. You can see the remnant. There's another milk bowl lid down there. That's another water bowl. Now, one thing we did notice with this female, that she did, in fact, even with the sack, she did come up and drink, and she actually fed twice as well, which is quite interesting. She came out and she was on top, and this worried me at first because I thought, oh no, maybe it's all gone wrong. And I thought I'll pop her in a bit of food and see what she does. And she took the food immediately and she fed. There you go. Look at all them babies. Look, they're all hiding in the main burrow now. This is where our female lived. Down in there. Look at that. Babies everywhere. Aren't they marvellous? So yes, our female actually, she did feed straight away, and she took it back down in the burrow and she ate, which was really, really cool. And then I sprayed the enclosure and she came out and she took some water as well. Now we've had a few spiders that have done that recently. They've actually come out and fed while they've got an egg sac, which is something that's very, very interesting, because generally speaking, we don't feed our females when they have egg sacs, because a large roach or something that goes down into the burrow, if it manages to get into the burrow where the female is with the egg sac, it can cause damage and it can upset her to the point where she may well destroy the egg sac. So we only ever feed if our female ventures out. If she ventures out, then we'll pop in a bit of food and see what happens. If she remains in the burrow, sealed in with the egg sac, we do not attempt to feed. Very important. Now, we're just picking up the last of them now. There was many, many spiders here. And as you can see, it's quite a long, tedious job. And I think in all, to catch up all of these spiders, it probably took around about 45 minutes or so to clean them all up. As you can see, there's plenty in there now. So they will all be removed. They will all be put into the nursery pot. The female spider gives no maternal assistance now to these youngsters, apart from protection. That is all she offers, is protection. She doesn't do anything else. So it's perfectly fine to remove them at this stage. And she will forget about them very quickly. Incredible. Well guys, that was pretty epic, and a lesson learnt, because I think if we breed this female again, we will in fact, I think we'll take the egg sac, or maybe we could have actually removed the slings a little bit earlier. Now some of them have molted out into slings already, and some of them are still in nymph 2 stage. Now the funny thing is as we've now put them over into the box of the soil, some of them are actually molting out as we speak. So they were imminent. They were absolutely imminent. Now this generally isn't a problem, because we've moved them literally from one environment to another. They will be fine and they will molt out and there won't be any issues at all. So we'll have a little look at those, and we'll see, you'll see actually where they're molting out and what they're doing. Well, this is the pot that we put all of our youngsters in, and you can see there it is actually in fact reasonably dry on the surface, just a little bit of dampness in it, which should be fine for these little spiders. Now you can see the different stages of development there. Now you'll see some of these, like that one there in the middle that's curled up slightly, that's just about starting to molt. You can see some molts already in there. Bearing in mind these guys have only been in here about 15 minutes or so. And you can see there as well the darker ones. These will be coming up for their molt into actual slings. And this is what happens with our nymphs. As they change, they turn darker and darker, and then eventually they molt out. There you go, there's some empty molts there. There's a pale one there as well, right next to a molt that has literally just molted. That one's getting ready to molt. Another one there. We have literally caught these just at the point where they're changing. So another day or two, and these will all be done. Amazing. Right, as you can see there, you'd have seen from that footage, we took a bit of footage there with the phone, and you see some of them are actually coming out, and they're coming through their molts already, which is really, really cool. Give these another 2 or 3 days, and I would have imagined everybody will be in the sling stage. They'll all be done. So it's a really, really, really cool thing. Now, catching them in the enclosure, as you would have seen there, was troublesome to say the least. Awkward, yes, my dear, awkward. So what we've done, we've got them all out, and we've basically just given her old enclosure a little bit of a spruce up. We put the bark back in. We've used the same bit of dried moss because that's fine. We can moisten this down every now and again. As we said in the beginning of the video, these guys do like it dry. So they don't really want much in the way of moisture. But it does keep it nice and tidy, just having that bit of dry moss in there. Now, she has been rather keen to get out and get back into her enclosure. So we're going to take this off. Now, I don't know if you can see there, you can get a nice close-up of her there. You can get a good one there. You can see the coloration in these spiders. It's absolutely phenomenal. And as you can also see there, I mean, this is my hand. You can see that these are a dwarf species. She has only got a maximum of maybe 3.5 inches all over there. So they're only a very small spider. Now, as you can see, as we put her in, hopefully we won't see too much trouble from her. There you go. We're just going to tickle her in nice and gently. Once she feels that bit of floor on her, under her feet, she'll settle down. There you go. As we were saying before, we didn't really see any aggression from her there. And she's just more than happy just to get out and have a look around and see what's going on. And you can see there she's quite active. Now, she will get all of the senses from her webbing and everything else that was in there, because basically all of the old material we have put back in, because it's nice and dry, which is how she likes it. And apart from the webbing, it's not dirty or anything, it's fine. So it's perfectly okay to replenish it and just put it all back in. She will now actually move around, and what you'll find is eventually she will probably come and hide under here. She'll go into her log and she'll sit down. If I turn her around, you see the beautiful underside of her there, that jet black. It's got absolutely jet black underneath. It's almost like a velvet black. It's beautiful, really, really beautiful. Now, these guys come from Mozambique, and as we said earlier on, they are very few and far between in the hobby. You just don't see many of them around anymore, which is a real shame, because they are a perfect introduction, I think, to old world species and baboons. If you're interested in baboon spiders, many people go for the OBT. The OBT is an absolute handful compared to this spider. She is so well behaved, so relaxed. And as you can see there, she's not darting around, she's taking everything in her stride. They are a confident spider, but they're not a bad spider by any means. And handled carefully, there's no reason why you would have any difficulties in looking after one of these. Their basic care is so simple. A simple dry enclosure. All we do is maybe once a week or so, we'll just mist down the corner here, just to give a little bit of humidity in there. It doesn't need a huge amount, But as with all the dry species, most of them do like around about the 50 to 60% humidity. Although with the dry species, everyone says, oh, you should keep them bone dry. I don't really agree with that. I think 50-60% humidity gives them what they need. If you imagine most of these guys in the wild state, in the early mornings, as dawn starts to break, you get heavy dew in a lot of these countries. Even in Africa, you get a dew in the morning. And this is what these spiders would use as drinking water and things like that. But it also helps them to do everything else. And where they live under stones and rocks and bits and pieces, there will be a sense of humidity under there. But it won't be high. It's only going to be low. So 50-60% is more than enough. And you'll keep a happy spider. Now, as we said before about them being a burrowing spider, they are a semi-fossorial spider. But quite often we will see our girl out doing exactly what she's doing now. She'll just be out having a wander around. They have a great feeding appetite as well. So they're they're a fun, interesting spider. And we can try her with a bit of food. Yes, let's try her with a male roach. If camera lady can catch one, just take the lid clean off. There we go, see, she's not very good with slings, but she's good at catching roaches. No, I'll take that back, I'm only joking. No dinner for me. Right, we're going to pop this in, and we'll put it in the front here and we'll see what happens. See if she takes it. She might not take it because she's sort of like gone back into a brand new enclosure. No, she's not overly bothered. Oh, she's stopping for a drink instead. Oh, the roach is having a drink with her. Oh, this is amazing. Look at this.
Can you turn it a little bit, Dave?
Can we see that?
Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Perfect.
No reflection? Oh, look at that. They're both sitting there enjoying a drink at the bar. That's incredible, isn't it? I don't think this friendship's going to last, though. Yes. She might just pull him for all the drinks that she can get, and then what? End of the night, she'll have him. Right, we'll leave him in there, and we'll see what they do. Chances are she will grab him once she's finished. Right then, well, another amazing success for the Beastie Room. As we said in the beginning, captive bred spiders of this species, the ezendami, I can't remember ever seeing any captive bred ones available. So yeah, they're normally coming from wild caught females. So this is a real amazing feat for us here in the Beastie Room. We're very pleased, and hopefully we'll breed some more in the future. We will keep back some of these for ourselves, and we'll get some males come off, and we'll keep a couple of females as well, I think, because they really are a pretty spider. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Look at these guys. Look, they're full on there. Oh my God, look, he's having a proper drink, that roach. He's actually sticking his head underwater. Oh, look. She might just take him in a second. It's interesting how they sit with one foot on the roach. They're just waiting for that little bit of movement. Oh, here she goes, here she goes. Oh. No, she's just playing with him. She's left him at the bar. I feel for you, my friend. Right then, with all of that being said, it's time to go. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you very soon.